Welcome back to another episode of Marcel Hyde Media. Hope you guys are having a great, fantastic day as you watch this amazing episode that we are shooting here today. I have a very special guest on the show. You guys know that I only bring the best of the best on the show, so you're going to want to stay tuned in all the way to the end, because this one is going to be a great show that's going to be filled with a bunch of knowledge, practical knowledge that you could take and apply to your life. All right. So, with no further ado, I'd like to introduce my guest, Kristyn Livermore. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, Marcel. I love your energy that you start with. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Energy is everything, and that's what I strongly believe in. And I can feel your energy across the room here on this podcast, right? Like I had an extremely long day, and then when you came on the podcast, I felt like it was a surge of energy just came into me. So I just want to start off by saying that for
Yeah.
our audience and our viewers. So, Kristyn, tell me a little bit about yourself and talk about your journey.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And I feel very honored that you get to bring some really cool guests, and I'm part of that. So thank you very much for having me. So my journey is pre being a hypnotist and a behavior, I guess, a human behavior specialist and an NLP practitioner. I was a client myself from a hypnotist. I was 100 pounds overweight. I was miserable. I was really low confidence. And I had just had two children, so I felt really lost. I was a pretty young mom and wife. My husband's a little bit older, and I was kind of lost. And I had been in talk therapy for a long time. I'm laughing because that's where our conversation started.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like I was victimizing myself. And I was so good at telling people what they wanted to hear, but it was a mask that was on, and I was so lonely and unhappy underneath that mask. And hypnosis really gave me the tools and the light to see that I had way more options than I thought. And the beautiful part is it gave me like real life experience to make changes. And that's why I do what I do. And I'm truly grateful and I love what I do because I can help clients do that now, which is awesome.
That's awesome, and that's great. And it clearly worked for you because now you're sitting on the other side of the table helping other individuals. So, hypnotists, like what do hypnotists actually do? And who is it for? Because we hear it all the time, sign up for hypnosis or, join this NLP class. And people hear all this jargon, but they're not 100% sure, like, what do hypnosis actually do?
And that's a really great question. Thanks for asking that. It's funny because I had someone in today for a screening. So we do free screenings to make sure it's the right fit for the individual and for us as the practitioner. And I had someone come in and he's like, I was expecting you to just like wave a necklace in front of me and make me cluck like a chicken, right? Which is most of the time what we think hypnosis is or a hypnotist is because we see it on stage and we see it for fun. But shockingly, hypnosis is a very powerful tool that with NLP, which is neuro-linguistics practitioner, which is what I am, it can be used to change your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is super, super little. And we have imprints based on like our childhood way back, way back. And we're still doing this over and over and over again. And sometimes those imprints can get in the way of where we actually want to be based on the stage we're in. Like you wouldn't be doing the same thing that you're doing in your 30s based on how you reacted as a 7-year-old. But a lot of us as human beings are doing that exact thing and we're getting stuck and frustrated and we're either grabbing a cigarette and coping with stress in that way, or we're binge eating at nighttime, or we're just going down a rabbit hole where our mind is just taking us into like a different world. So with hypnosis, it can build confidence. It can help you lose weight. It can help you stop smoking. It can also, actually, the reason I actually met you, Marcel, was because a mutual friend of ours, Vanessa, came on, and Vanessa was one of our clients, and she came for public speaking. So the the amount of things hypnosis can help with is truly amazing with sleep, with fears and phobias. It's really endless, and it's such a powerful tool. And I think it's quite wonderful that there's all these different modalities now that you have so many options to get help.
Right. Yeah, and it's fantastic. And to speak about Vanessa, actually, because I did interview her, twice. And when I first originally met Vanessa at a networking group, like the way she spoke wasn't as confident. And I told her that the last time I was on the podcast, and she mentioned your name. She
Hmm.
said the reason why I'm speaking a lot better and more confident was because she was working with you. And
Hmm.
I noticed the difference. I'm like, Vanessa, what did you do? Right? So so clearly whatever you're doing is working.
Yeah, and hey, reality is, Marcel, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So there's nothing I can say or do to someone who doesn't actually want the change themselves.
Right.
So, I'm giving Vanessa or whatever client the tools, but they're making the changes themselves. So kudos to
Yeah,
Vanessa.
of course. I like that one. And you mentioned the unconscious mind. Could you briefly talk about the conscious and the unconscious mind and pretty much how we can rewire our brain through the unconscious mind?
Yeah, and that's a really good point because sometimes we're in autopilot. Like even, when you learned how to walk, you don't think now how to walk, like lift leg, put it up, put it down, and walk, right? Could you imagine how slow people would be walking everywhere?
It's true.
Take forever. So in the unconscious mind, we're in autopilot. So it just naturally happens. But when we're frustrated, it's more of the conscious mind when we're like, what is going on here? It's like a tug of war almost. And that's really where we're making changes. But to actually make changes last, we need to go down to the subconscious mind and rewire there and then rewire up in different levels as well. So it's interesting because most people have never experienced the type of relaxation that they get during hypnosis. So
Right.
we get a client super, super relaxed. So they're more open in their subconscious mind to accept suggestions towards their outcomes. And that's a really, really powerful part of hypnosis and change.
Yeah. That's powerful. Very, very powerful.
Mhm.
So, there's this thing where they say thoughts become things, and we hear that, and it's become trendy, right? Something trendy on TikTok, like, oh, your thoughts become things, and what you think about, you bring about. Is that a true thing, or is that just something that's out there that isn't real?
Yeah, totally. Like your mind is a powerful thing. It's a really powerful tool. And what we're teaching people in hypnosis is to be in control of their own minds, to actually have these healthy boundaries, to have the confidence to take in and let out what they want. And I love that you bring up TikTok because TikTok is a hypnotic trend,
Yeah.
right? You like I have a lot of clients come in and say, "Hey, like I am doom scrolling for hours and I don't even realize it's happening."
Right.
It's like you're in this other world and you're just like whoop, whoop,
Yeah.
whoop. And you're getting that dopamine hit. Like it's like, oh, exciting. Oh, no, not so exciting. You're going up and down. So it's really playing with your emotions as well. And reality is, as human beings, we need human connection.
Yes.
So the TikTok is giving you like a hypnosis version or a hypnotic version of what it's supposed to be like when you're connecting with humans. But reality is, it's just the BS that we keep telling ourselves in our head. And if, COVID has done anything to us as human beings, it's made us realize how important human connection is.
Yeah.
Whether it's intimate with partners or it's with, talking to other people, but also not always trusting what our mind is telling us, getting some feedback outside and then going back to ourselves. So it's this back and forth and it's really, the definition of maturity.
Yeah.
If you can go back and forth and get feedback and trust the feedback and build confidence from there, the world's your oyster.
Exactly. I like that, Kristen. And there's something out there too that it's called like manifestation, right? Like let's manifest the life we want, and there's these communities, there's these groups, it's all over the internet, manifest the life you want. So can people manifest things into their life? And if so, what are the steps that people want to take in order to like manifest something into their life?
Yeah, and I love that you're bringing up these like, themed words or these
Yeah.
like hot words right now too, because we get a lot of these words that come into the clinic and yes, and it's also blending the tools that we use here in hypnosis. So we say future pacing. So if you were to imagine yourself, tomorrow, next week, in a month, in 3 months, in a year, where do you see yourself?
Yeah.
Where do you hear yourself and where do you feel yourself? Because we want to get into all three senses as well. So we want to get into visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Because we're really painting a full picture when we're getting into all three of those senses. And hey, you may want to, add in some more senses to actually make it real. But with this trend that's happening, manifesting, it's really still staying in your head.
Yeah.
And, that's awesome as a first step. But what can you actually do to make it more real?
Right.
To actually see yourself, hear yourself, feel yourself. And this is where having a hypnotist or having a career coach or having some sort of coach to guide you, because in the hypnosis world, like I have a hypnotist as well, and I will always have a hypnotist because I'm inside the bottle and the person on the outside can read my label. I can't read my label.
Right.
So it's pretty cool to be able to have that power and to also trust someone who can read your label. Like I was just saying to a client, you got to kiss a lot of frogs sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, very
It's
true.
so many aspects, right? Dating, coaches, hypnotists, everything, mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. And you talk about mindset, and I believe in mindset, and I preach mindset all the time. So
Mhm.
what does the word mindset mean to you? And what is the difference between like a growth mindset and a fixed mindset?
It's so interesting you say that because it actually brings back like visually, like I'm a very visual person. So when you're saying that, it actually brings me back to the start of our conversation when we started before recording
Right.
and that you connect spiritually.
Yes.
And that to me would be my growth mindset. Before I didn't connect to anything spiritually and I didn't really trust that the universe had something to offer for me or there was a higher source, nothing specific, but there was something in a higher power that I could just surrender and trust.
Right.
I came from a mindset where I was very fixed. I was in a box. I came from a single mom and she was in fight or flight most of the time because she was trying to protect my brother and I, which I get.
Yeah.
But as I grow and I mature and, I have my own kids, I have two boys now that are 8 and 10. I also, have a husband that I've been married to for 11 years. This mindset of growth is really connecting spiritually and just trusting that the universe is going to pan out for me and I can put down my sword
Right.
and I can just flow with the universe and be flexible and still trust that everything is going to be okay and that I'm safe.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that mindset, and that's the mindset that I embody as well too.
Mhm.
And I find it very effective. And
Yeah.
for me, like when I think that, good things are gonna happen to me, like when I start thinking, that I'm gonna attract the right people into my life, I see this in my life.
Mhm.
So why would you say that happens? Like for me, I think in my mind that, I'm gonna attract the right person. I think in my mind that the next podcast host is gonna come, and reach out to me. Like why, like what is that process?
Yeah, so for you, you're a great model, Marcel, of trusting, of
Okay.
just trusting the universe and connecting spiritually and you're a very freedom-minded person, so you roll with the punches very easily.
Yeah.
And for people who are more stuck in the rules, you're a great model of the yin and the yang for them, so where they can actually move a little bit closer to you. So something we do in hypnosis is we model or emulate.
Right.
And sometimes that can feel a little scary because it's like I'm giving them, I'm giving them kudos that they're doing a good job, but it's actually a beautiful thing because just like an actor or actress, you can step into their model of the world and actually use their tools and skills to get you closer to where you want to be.
Right.
So for you, that comes very easily
Yeah.
to model other people, to trust and to surrender. And that's got you where you are because it's just natural for you, but it's not always natural for everyone.
That's true. So
Mhm.
that's why working with someone like yourself would be great.
Hmm.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a lot of fun. I'm actually learning a ton. Like, I need to go back and I'm actually gonna, really watch this and take notes myself because you said you've been saying so many gems here and so many things I didn't even realize. So like I feel like I'm being, not necessarily hypnotized, but like I'm being programmed for like more success. So you guys, you're gonna want a book session after. So, let's talk about book recommendations. Do you have any like book recommendations or podcasts that you kind of listen to help you like rewire your brain? Like, there's a bunch of people out there like Dr. Joe Dispenza or
Yeah.
whatnot. By the way, if you're watching this show, get Kristyn on your podcast. If Lewis Howes is watching this show, you got to get Kristyn on your podcast. I don't know, you just have this calming energy and you're just ready for that next level. So if anybody at that level or anybody else has a podcast, you got to reach out to Kristyn because this is an amazing guest. But yes,
Thank you, Marcel. I appreciate you saying that. Um, I listen to a lot of Jay Shetty.
Jay Shetty. Okay.
Oh, I love listening to him. I've also modeled him in that calming demeanor.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what we put off is what we get back.
Right.
So if we can stay calm and to be honest with you, with parenting, oh my gosh, have my children taught me so much about myself. And it's really all about finding your learning edges too. And there's no end game to any of this stuff, right? We're constantly learning and shifting and moving, and I think that was a really powerful acceptance for me to get to. Is there's no end game. This is just, being the captain of your ship and just moving in adventure and curiosity, and it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really like Jay Shetty. I also have a mentor. I have two mentors. I have a gentleman in Florida. His name is Scott McFall, and he's actually a stage hypnotist as well as like a corporate. Um, he does amazing things. Like the way that this gentleman reads, he's like a an award-winning people reader.
Yeah.
And right away when I met him, he read me like that.
Yeah.
Wow, it was like I felt like naked. Like so quickly. I've never been undressed so quickly. But it's really this talent that he's created, or he naturally has it as well because he was born with a heart disease.
Mm,
So he was going undergoing surgeries for, a very long period of his life when he was a kid. So he was observing the world in a different perspective where maybe you and I didn't get to see it in that perspective.
right.
And that's why he decided to be a people reader
Yeah.
and a magician and a stage hypnotist as well. And now he helps corporate companies grow.
Wow.
So Scott McFarlane, he's the president of all the hypnotists in North America, of Master Hypnosis Society. So, and then
Right.
I also have a mentor who's in Burlington, and her name is Robbie Spear Miller.
Okay.
So she's the owner of Hypnosis Train Canada, and she rejected me actually 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because it was the first person who said no to me, and I was like, I don't really like that.
Right.
But she also called me out on my BS, and I didn't have a parent who did that when I was growing up, and I really needed that at that point in my life. My marriage was falling apart in that point as well, and I was wearing a mask and pretending everything was okay. So that was the biggest gift someone could have given me in that moment, and I
Yeah.
see it now as,
Exactly.
as a really beautiful thing. She also has a podcast as well.
Right. And what's the name of that podcast for any of our viewers that want to kind of tune into Robbie as well?
I can't remember the
It's
name of it.
okay. We'll put it at the bottom. We'll add it to the shit. We'll add it to the notes.
Which
Yeah.
is funny because I listen to it all the time and I also send it to my clients because it's very similar themes that we teach with
Right.
clients.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because a lot of people are like, oh, I can figure this out myself. And you have mentors that have helped you and guided you. So it seems like mentorship is important to you and also like listening to different podcasts and maybe even reading different books. So is that not important?
100%. Like reality is we can't just trust ourselves. We need outside feedback. And there's something we teach in hypnosis. There's, independence, or there's dependence when you're a little kid and, your parents feed you, they take care of you, they put a roof over your head. And then there's independence. And I'm sure you can think of a time when you were in high school and you're like, no, mom and dad, I've got it.
Yeah.
Right? going into the
Yeah,
world. And you
of
just want to show your independence.
course.
And the next level of that is intradependence. So where you can go back and forth, where you can depend on yourself and then also take feedback from others. So it's like this beautiful flow back and forth. And that's really the next level of maturity.
Yeah,
And you'd be really surprised that most adults aren't there,
right. Yeah, that's amazing.
which is where people sometimes get stuck, which is the awesome part about having someone like a coach or a hypnotist or
Yep,
someone else to read your label.
yep. I believe in that, So reach out to Kristyn. We'll put her notes at the bottom of the show. So if you want to book that first free, you said free consultation, you can book that. You did speak about, your younger self a little bit and like your life journey and stuff. So we do
Yeah.
have a lot of viewers that view the show that may be a bit younger. So if you were to go back and kind of talk to, your 18-year-old self, or you, let's say you were in a classroom with 18-year-olds, what would you tell them?
Oh my gosh, this is so funny you say this because I just did some career coaching at the high school nearby.
Great.
So exactly what you're talking about. What I would tell a group of 18-year-olds to have more human experiences,
Yeah,
to give yourself the flexibility to try things on, to ease the pressure on yourself. I think there's a lot of pressure on, adolescence, being a teenager. I think there's also some kids that need more pressure to actually do things and mature. It's interesting because I'm a parent and I have an 8 and 10-year-old, and the pendulum kind of swings back and forth.
yeah,
So the pendulum swung pretty hard to this, gentle parenting and validating things. But I think there's a middle grounds to all of this. I think there's some accountability and also, having a child learn the lessons on their own and have the freedom where we can't shelter kids.
right.
We've got to give them the freedom to have experiences and, fall and pick themselves back up. Because if we always pick them up, then they're going to be in fight or flight looking for mom or dad to pick them up all the time. And you probably see this in your own clinic as well,
Yeah,
where you're seeing this new trend of kids or adolescents or, young adults not having any idea what to do in the world.
yeah,
And it's pretty scary, but I would honestly really encourage people to build the muscle where they can, wherever they are. Even if they're in their 20s and they're like, "Hey, I just need to get out of this roof from underneath my parents and
yeah,
mature and build confidence."
exactly.
Whatever it looks like, it's really just taking the first step with whether it's booking a free screening with me, whether it's, collaborating with you and,
Yeah,
going into your clinic. I think we're really lucky at how many modalities there are out there now
yes.
to build confidence, to manage stress. And reality is, Marcel, stress is, that silent killer
Yeah,
that starts with everything. And if you could manage stress and interact with stress in a different way and build the confidence, this is just the beginning. You
that's
got so much life.
yeah. I believe that. Yes. And what's like the most
Mhm.
surprising or powerful transformation like you've seen in a client thus far?
Mhm. So it's funny. I had a guy come in and he was really, really high up in a really corporate company. And he was this big, big, big guy. And he was taking up
Mm,
this much space. And you could just see that something in his life, and there was an old anchor there that was like not allowing him to take up space. And he was so scared of his size that he was just crumbling and hiding out from it. And I will always remember when he just finally stood up straight and took up space. It was the most beautiful thing, and it was him who did the work. It was him who put in the time, and he used to play basketball. And so we talk about anchors, and we have everyday anchors, and this gentleman, he had an anchor of something that he, got frustrated and he scared people, which happens, right? It's
exactly.
a
Yeah.
human thing, but he stayed in that place. And then as he was exploring of getting back into the zone about playing basketball and really living in his authentic self, he gave himself more flexibility. And as he was working in the corporate position, he was in a union, he had a pension, life was good. But he was still trying to adhere to all the rules in that corporate job. Now he owns a security system on the side, like a security company, and he's now got security people with like high profile rappers in
Wow.
Toronto. Like he's killing it
Yeah.
just because he built the confidence to actually take up space.
Yeah. I love that.
It was beautiful. And I will always, there's those couple stories that you always remember.
Of course. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing that you're transforming people's lives like that. And I know there's going to be a bunch of people that watch this show and they're going to be just amazed by the transformations that you've done and just the stuff that you're saying. So where can people learn more about your work or even book a session with you?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm on all social media platforms. The name of my company, I'm the director of Westend Hypnosis. I grew up in Etobicoke, so I liked, like the
West
West
End.
End,
Yeah, West
right?
End. It's still in you.
Exactly. The ghetto's still here.
Yeah, it's still there. I love that.
Yes, totally. And,
Yeah,
and and that's I think the beautiful thing about things is you still can have your core. You can
of
still have
course.
fun with things,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, so I'm West End Hypnosis. I have a website, www.westendhypnosis.ca or .com, whatever floats your boat.
yeah,
My phone number is 416-666-1457.
yeah.
I swear I'm not the devil.
Yeah, it's 666. There you go.
Yeah. And all my social media, there's a booking link and you can compare your calendar to mine and we can book you in for a session. And I love that you keep bringing up this free session because it's
Yeah,
really important to book a free screening, especially even if you're like interested in hypnosis, because hypnosis could be totally different than what you're thinking about in your head.
definitely.
And we have a lot of fun with it. It's totally free. It's about 45 minutes to an hour. I teach you something, you get hypnotized, and we also put your patterns of what's getting in the way on the table, just like every other human being that has patterns.
Right. Yeah, that's great, Kristyn. Thank you so much for coming on Marcel Hyde Media. I learned a bunch today. It was honestly a pleasure having you on the show. One of the best guests to date. I've learned a lot. I'm going to go back to the drawing board and study this myself and see if I can implement some things into my life. So make sure that you guys do the same things as well. Remember, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and comment. And if you found value from this episode, share this with someone, share my information, share Kristyn's information, book a session with Kristyn today. Thank you all again. And Kristyn, thank you again.
Thank you, Marcel.
Thank you.